Sir.
I will have you know that everything is not awesome.
Everything is awesome.
No jerk.
My soul go for soda, nobody hurts, nobody cries.
Kind of have to wonder, does Doug like his milk pasteurized?
I cried.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Greetings and salutations, my wonderful freaks. This is your Uncle Necro, and I welcome you all back to the Tomb of the Terrible, where we watch horrible movies and then talk to you about it. With me tonight is, as always, Delphine. Hey, Tom Dog. Then Friday in Chaos here. We have Pyle and Ronnie Ron. How's everybody doing?
Sounds like a song need to be. Runny, run, run, run.
Well, the do run, the do run. Someone please to do run.
Well, tonight I believe your prayers have been answered, Ron, because we're going over the 2019. What was it? 2019. It was
2018.
when we went over this. 2018. VelociPastor. Let me read from the back of the Blu-ray. After losing his parents, a priest travels to China to find meaning in life, but instead inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. At first horrified by his new power, a prostitute convinces him to use it to fight crime and ninjas, as you do. So, this one was free on Tubi. How many people was this your first time? Okay. Ron seen it before?
Second time.
Second time? When was the first time you saw it?
I watched it on Amazon Prime when it was available on it because I had heard so much about it and I was curious. I have to say, although I'm giving a little bit away here, but I think I did enjoy it more the second time around because I knew what to expect.
Yes. This is my and Dell's second time, at least. I don't know if Dell has watched it any more times after we watched it the first time, but we did it for a previous episode of the Movies and Beer podcast that I do. And I believe Dell was originally chastised for sounding a little too serious, I guess.
Yeah, there's a thing because Doug is a pastor and he starts off the movie. There's some inconsistencies in this, folks.
Really? No, I didn't.
Really? No way.
Only one.
What, you mean that ninjas come from China?
Yeah. No, so I went and pulled this up because in the very beginning, the first scene that you see is Father Doug giving a sermon on the Book of Job. And he does correctly quote the Book of Job. And then later on, about half an hour into the movie, he quotes two Bible passages, one of which is Leviticus 24:24, and the other of which is Matthew 32:6. Now, chapter 24 of Leviticus only has 23 verses, and the book of Matthew only has 28 chapters. So it's an obvious joke for anyone who actually knows a little bit about the Bible. And I commented on, like, man, they should have stayed consistent and fucked up every verse of the Bible that they do rather than just a couple of them. Although the rest are all ongoing jokes throughout the movie too. But I said that, and I got chastised in our comments over on Movies Plus Beer for taking the movie far too seriously and not enjoying it because I apparently do not speak snarky enough. So
They don't get the dry humor.
yes,
The movie
they,
doesn't even
permeates.
take itself seriously.
No.
yeah.
I mean, it starts off with this movie is rated X,
Yeah.
as judged by a jury of Christian, but
Yeah.
okay. Well, the fact that they go from the he's letting church out, he walks out, he sees his parents from across the street, and then there's an explosion off screen, but then that's pretty much what they show in lieu of an actual car on fire.
It keeps jumping back and forth to him screaming
Yeah,
and crying,
thanks.
No.
back over
Not-
to this, back and forth, back and forth.
I am curious about, put the picture back up.
Oh, yes.
I am curious about that restaurant's tea. Is it fine? Is it what kind of tea is it, and can we get it to go? But
It's from China.
oh, of course, yes, China.
Oh, there you
There
go.
you go.
Kind of tea.
This movie did have a budget of $11,000, so I figure with $11,000, you probably couldn't reenact a car explosion and fire on screen. So,
Well,
knowing
you
that,
could.
they leaned into it, I think, and
Well,
heavily relied on Adobe After Effects.
I think you could, but not legally.
Right,
But-
exactly. Although
So-
that would have made the movie way more interesting in the
Oh,
trivia
yeah.
section.
Oh yeah.
Had an $11,000 budget. Most of the budget was spent on the
The
poster art.
fines.
So, my foot stuck. Talk amongst yourselves. Anyway.
Oh, okay. So
Anyway,
so yeah, after Doug's parents die in a car fire.
right. Car fire.
That kills
So he has an existential crisis.
and his mentor tells him, you should go to where you don't think God will be. And he's like, where will God not be? China. God will not be in
course.
China.
Apparently,
And they do
God
have to
hates-
announce that the same forest area in the backyard is now China because they had an $11,000 budget.
Yes.
Well, China is primarily a Buddhist country.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet, to be in all seriousness, I knew somebody who back in the day, after they got out of high school, went with a church group and smuggled Bibles into China, and it was a executable offense, apparently, according to what he was telling me, if you got caught. So, but they also got the other priest, who you will see later, I will show a screenshot of him, is very there's a lot of weirdly racist stuff that comes into this. Like, they called it what? Oh, this is how very Eastern, and
Right.
just
Oh,
a lot of weird comments towards things like that. But it's all tongue in cheek. But it was
I did not notice
I
any
mean-
of that at all.
I mean,
Oh.
one of the comments that he makes is right when that lady is being chased by the ninja up front. You hear him go, "China is east," and
yeah, he's looking at his compass.
yeah, it is east, huh?
So while he's in China, as he's saying this, a ninja woman gets shot. I'm assuming she's a ninja based on her outfit, by an arrow, and collapses at his feet and is telling him, because he doesn't speak Chinese, we get the little things that are like, take this, destroy it, it must be ended. And he accidentally cuts his hand on this artifact that he then brings back home with him. And this, the only words that she says in English are, dragon warrior. And so we're all led to believe that this is what is turning him into the dragon warrior eventually. Because he comes back and first is offered some food and is told how very Eastern his experiences were. But then
Because
he gets
China is east.
China is east. But he gets fed, the fellow priest who told him to go there to begin with, his mentor, gives him food and he's like, I am hungry. And then he goes running around and we get to meet the mermaid. What's his name?
Frankie Mermaid.
Frankie Mermaid.
Who
And when they call me that?
Because I'm swimming in bitches.
Woo!
Which is probably the best line in the whole movie, actually.
Yeah, Frankie Mermaid is he's a pimp for.
He's a pimp. He's a
for
terrible
Carol.
pimp too.
Did you get a picture of him?
No,
He's such a
My
a
gosh.
knockoff Ron Jeremy with a very bad hairdo. His hair is actually worse than mine.
Well, I can't. I was watching this and I was thinking, are we certain he wasn't actually coked up when he was going through this? Because
could have been. He had the sweats going on the whole
Probably.
time.
uh,
But Frankie Mermaid, who swims in bitches, is the pimp for Carol, our heroine, who is a
Pre-med law student.
pre-med law student, but also a prostitute. But there's not much,
Mhm.
not many people out there are looking for hooker doctor lawyers.
no,
As she puts it at one point. More people believe the prostitute than they believe that she's pre-med law, which is why she's a prostitute, so she can afford pre-med law school. Because it's not pre-med, and it's pre-med law school.
of course.
Of course.
Like
So-
you do.
Because you
So-
don't overachiever much.
She's out in the park and it's nighttime suddenly, and she's in the process of getting mugged when the VelociPastor comes up and right on the guy. It shows him chewing on him, and then the mugger gets up somehow, starts firing at him, and then yada yada yada. He wakes up the next morning in the prostitute's bedroom.
So should we point out that while the VelociPastor is chewing on this mugger and the mugger gets up and there's no visible wounds on him or blood or anything whatsoever?
There's a couple scrapes because the tree branches are just getting in the way.
And the seemingly infinite ammo that he has in a 6-round gun. Because he
Was
shoots
it a
at
6-shooter?
least- He shoots at least 16 shots, and then he re-racks each time.
Yeah, there were
Bang.
some
Bang.
If you do that enough in the movies, though, it creates it's a movie effect. It generates fresh new bullets. You just have to make sure you do it right. And in cinema world,
You know what? I played that game at the arcade. Reload. Reload.
Or you just point it to the side. Ka-chink. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
Like,
Ka-chink. Ka-chink. Ka-chink.
so the next morning, the morning after, is quite the experience for the naive young Doug, who, when she comes in to thank him for the wonderful evening, and he realizes he is necky, he thinks that he broke his vows in a different
broke
way
something.
than what he did.
mhm.
He
And then
busted
he becomes,
something.
and then when she tells him that it was, when he's like, this is a mistake, we can never do this again, she's like, yeah. Was it that bad? Well, it was kind of weird. I'm so sorry, my child. And that was creepy. Like, but then she points out to him that actually, yeah, no, he turned into a dinosaur and killed somebody. But because of his beliefs, I think this is another one of my favorite quotes in the movie is, I went too far away. I don't believe you. Dinosaurs never existed. And even if they did, I don't transform into one.
as you do. I mean, it's his logic is sound, I guess.
Yes.
But
So she goes to prove to him, and he's like, "Well, do you have any clothes I can borrow?" And thank you, Jenny.
behold,
The
He looks
orange
sexy
dress.
in that orange dress, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I know,
he
right?
is working it.
He's got the legs for it.
Work,
He is
yeah,
working that.
work those legs.
You know what? If they would have stuck a wig on him, he could have been Velma.
Oh God, wig and the glasses. Wig, he needed the glasses.
Definitely needs the glasses.
Okay, so
Jinkies! I found a fossil.
it was at this point. Yeah, he's still kind of going through his crisis. He arrives late for the confessional, and then that's when we discover that Frankie Mermaid was the guy who killed his parents. Because so he
Yeah.
turns into at least his hands turned into the dinosaur thingy, and he kills him.
Yeah.
So does anybody find it weird that Frankie Mermaid would be in the confessional anyway? I mean, does he seem like the kind of guy that's going to go to church and make a confession?
Well,
It's been 3
think
years.
this movie.
Pimps need religion too, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
they had to move the plot along somehow so that you find out the truth about Doug's parents, but it's just of all the people you would not expect to see in a confessional.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's not easy being a pimp.
This
I
is true.
would like to quote, if you don't mind, just because we do love Frankie Mermaid. I don't have the full thing, but his introduction in the confessional. What is it you'd like to confess? Ah, geez. I guess we could cover the last 4 days. I stole candy from this baby. Then I threw the baby in the river so it couldn't snitch, obviously. Then, I pimp bitches, do drugs, sell drugs, murder people. Really, you name it, I've done it, Padre. He's just like, you threw a baby into the river so it couldn't snitch for stealing the candy.
Well, and if you're going to lead with something, lead with that.
You see, if this was a really, really, really serious podcast, we would have contacted a priest to see how many Hail Marys that would have entitled.
Mm-hmm.
16.
I think they made some good acts as well.
Okay. But in any case, at least from there to he's thinking, I could do some good by turning into a dinosaur like this and fighting the evil.
Mm-hmm.
So he teams up with the prostitute, and there's a couple of montages.
Oh, yes.
Full song montages, I should say.
Because everyone loves a montage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We gotta do the montage.
Gotta do the montage. But he's having
April Pence.
hello, April.
Hello, April.
Hey.
She's upstairs.
Hi,
But,
April. How are you?
But this thing that he's doing kind of runs counter to his mentors. Well, thinking this has pretty much everything, and then let's talk about that flashback to Vietnam.
Wait, before we talk about the flashback to Vietnam, we need to introduce one more character.
The budget
Altair.
rate, the budget rate Chris Angel.
Does everybody know who Aurelio Voltaire is?
No, I do not
'Cause
actually.
I am very much a fan of Aurelio Voltaire. He performs under the name Voltaire. He's actually a musician. He plays acoustic guitar, and his genre of music could best be described as gothic folk music.
But he's kind of hot.
He's got
yeah.
several albums out, but he's also an animator. He's done cartoons. He's done a lot of everything. Puppeteer. He's done quite a bit. He's been around for quite a while, and if you get the chance, I highly, highly, highly recommend his music because it's so unique. I can't even begin to describe it. It's just good stuff. He's a great songwriter.
Okay.
So
Oh.
yes, For anybody that's interested, go listen to Aurelio Voltaire. You won't be disappointed. So the whole flashback to Vietnam centers around basically the relationship between Doug's mentor, the father, the priest, and Voltaire's character, Altair, real creative naming there. The funny thing is Voltaire himself is not even old enough to have been in Vietnam.
Yeah, and Father Stewart and him have this like ongoing conversation where he's like, everybody's dead except for those two and maybe one or two other people from their unit, and he's describing, yeah, I want you to go have kids. I want you to have, you can have a family. You can have 5 kids. You can have 11 kids. Yeah, 11 kids, and I want you to spend 15 minutes a day with each of them, and I want you to call one Ollie after me or Ali after me. And when he asks about himself, you can tell him he was named after Ali, the guy who made it through without taking a single bullet. And then he gets shot right in the chest and collapses in front of him. And then and he's like, that's where I knew him from first. And then as we see here, there is no bullet wound. So how did Ali not only come back from the dead, but
I just looked up some of his songs. They're unique titles.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good songs, though.
I blame the pointy ears.
There's also though another flashback while they're performing an exorcism. They decide on Doug to try to get the dragon warrior / dinosaur out of him, and while we're back there, while they're doing that, Father Stewart starts thinking back to his gal that he was doing all of his fighting for, and suddenly out of the middle of nowhere in Vietnam, she calls his name and comes running to him out of the Vietnamese forest.
She was visiting, as people were,
As you
wont
do
to do
in
back
Vietnam.
then.
And
Of course.
I'm really proud of this screenshot, guys. This was one of my best timed things ever. As she's running to him, if you see, before her blood is washing over him, right down that little black line in the blood spatter on the bottom is a landmine that he was apparently standing 2 feet from. And she dies, and there's like, what was she doing in the forest? I don't know. But so yeah, that happens because that's fun, and I really like how I caught him just before the blood smashes onto him. See, they had something going on there with their effects to get that kind of a splash going.
Yeah, and I love the fact that. Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that obviously this is the same set of trees from China,
right?
So
yes, China and Vietnam look a lot
and
alike.
I don't know how many American type barns they have in Vietnam, but they were definitely next one. So,
yes. So the seance exorcism thing is going on, and Doug starts transforming.
yes.
With his hands first, like you do.
Uh-huh. And you look, you can see, you can just see the where the glove is and where his hand starts. This movie is magic. It is amazing. I mean, it gives it's low budget, and it knows it's low budget. It gives absolutely zero shits about that. So, I mean, okay, so just to I want to fast forward a little bit, and okay, there was the incident where he thinks he killed his mentor because of all this problem, but they he somehow survives and ends up in that encampment in China where the ninjas are, and who I will describe as Francis Chan with kind of a Napoleon complex, but let's their plan to get everybody hooked on cocaine
Oh yeah.
and
It-
and then
is
take
it-
it away.
They are Chinese Christian ninjas, by the way.
Yes. Chinese Christian ninjas. And who was it that made the comment that there are no ninjas in China? Was it
That was
Ron?
me. Ninjas are Japanese.
Yes.
I was thinking that whole thing too. Throughout this thing, I was so confused. And
Yeah.
That was the part that confused you.
oh no, that's one of them, and then the language barrier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. Everybody apparently speaks Chinese except for Doug.
Hmm.
Because everybody is speaking like the I my screenshots didn't turn out. I do not have a picture of the big bad well, besides I didn't get any of the big bads in this. But he speaks in Chinese and everybody's like, "Oh yeah," and they reply to him in English. And he just keeps talking back, and Doug is the only one who seems to have a problem with this until the end, which apparently he overcomes. But yeah, the whole language barrier thing was a lot of fun, and the plan to get everybody hooked, the way they're going to get all the everybody in the world to become a Christian is that they are going to give them, they don't just have cocaine, they have super cocaine that is 10 times as addictive as regular cocaine, and they're going to get everybody they can hooked on cocaine and then quit giving it to them and start having Christians walk around mentioning self-help groups. And so then they're going to recruit everyone to self-help groups, and that's how they're going to get them to Jesus, is through the cocaine. They're the super cocaine.
It's so incredibly logical. It just boggles the mind, doesn't it?
I hate to say this, but with my background, there was a point in the 90s, and it's kind of making a resurgence today, where something like that would have been considered, would have been seriously considered. Nobody would have batted an eye. What about cocaine? We can do the outreach to, get him hooked on cocaine and then take it away. And then, it's like that episode of South Park. No food until you become Christians. You don't eat the Bible, but yeah.
Yeah. So while all
Brilliant.
this is going on, he ends up leaving the church because, well, he keeps killing people and the church doesn't think highly of that. And so there's this lovely scene where they start going to it, and this is the weirdest montage, but I like to call it the Brady Bunch. Oh, wait, here we go. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
Good job. Great timing.
There you go.
Nice.
I'd also like to point out that,
Yeah,
Chinese
that Hitler
ninjas,
stash.
all of the guys that are supposed to be dressed as ninjas, okay, fine. They're at least wearing Japanese karate gi. And the one guy that's supposed to be Chinese is actually dressed somewhat Chinese. It's just that whole, yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe he was Chinese and he just hired a bunch of ninjas.
I mean, I guess that's possible because ninjas were basically mercenaries for hire.
I mean, they're all from the East.
I mean, this is obviously sponsored by a branch of the Mother Church in Rome, so it could just be an international thing where they're just set in China,
Which is a tent outside
Yes.
town.
It's a really nice tent.
It is a really
Yeah.
nice tent.
Yeah,
There's little bonsai trees,
That's where half
that.
your budget went.
which are
Yeah.
also gypsies. But
Half the budget went to the tent, the other half went to the movie poster.
Mm-hmm.
well, and here we have the gonna get some / all of our experiences together Brady Bunch thing that goes on.
Yeah.
That was fun. There's not a whole lot of there is no nudity in this, by the way, guys. So you don't you can, as long as your kids don't, if you don't mind having your kids see really bad fake gore, it is child friendly-ish. At least not.
It's got language.
It's
got
child-friendly gore.
language. Yeah. But
I mean-
so
Would you say it was family gore?
Child-friendly gore.
Child-friendly gore, yes.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
it kind of looked like High C there for a few minutes there. Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have-
it does. It looks like most of that blood was just sprayed on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
After
that-
their
Back to the photo of it coming at him.
And what was with that one ninja boy's laugh? Oh my god!
Aha. Aha.
okay, this guy.
Yes.
He's trying to be second in command of this guy, and so I think
Yes.
what it is Big Bad does the evil laugh, and White Boy is trying
Sam.
to perfect Sam, thank you, is trying to perfect his evil laugh. Like he gets better as it goes
Well,
through. If you
I think-
notice,
I think the way they were talking, his cadence and his laugh was more or less a riff on the old kung fu movies that were badly dubbed here in the States,
Yeah.
which was a nice touch.
yeah, he's trying.
Mhm.
He's just failing. Although he gets
I
better.
I took it as like it wasn't really a serious laugh. Like he's actually kind of mocking him, like ha 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 ha, because then he turns right back to the camera and he's completely serious face.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should point out that they finally figured out VelociPastor, I'll just refer to him as that, found out where they live because the ninjas tried to assassinate him while they were doing the montage thing, the Brady Bunch montage.
Yeah.
And it looked like they may have died before he was able to, but like off, an off the cuff mention, was I'm glad I got the information from him before he died. So
Yeah.
before they took off, so they found the place, and apparently they drive there. Both
Yeah.
him and but that's
It-
yeah.
You can
Jacket
see
and
in her
nunchucks.
hair, she has
A knife.
yes, she has a knife in her hair that she never uses.
No.
She uses her heels, her coat, all of her prostitute accessories. But
Well,
you
he's
never
holding
see
a pair
her-
of nunchucks, and I don't think he ever uses those.
He
No,
does
they were
once.
just- oh,
He uses them to grab somebody.
I have to say, as an experienced martial artist, no martial arts happened in this movie.
No, not at all.
No.
Well, one person swung a sword.
That was
And then
that was past the budget, Ron.
Okay, well, they
Jeez.
would have spent the $11,000 on just getting proper stunt people to do the martial arts in this movie.
and
you probably could have gone on and been each one
Not
of
to
them.
mention George Lucas is going to sue somebody for one
It is-
scene.
it is this particular fight scene where we get the final massive twist that he has a brother.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was there the whole time, even in all the
Yes.
flashbacks.
The flashbacks that had his father saying, "You're my only son. You're my
Yeah.
only son." And then he pops up in the back seat of the car going, "The fuck?
It's like, what
Yeah.
the hell,
I'm your son
Dad?
too."
We're gonna
Right.
go around for a drive and we'll pick you up after priest college.
How long were
Fun
they
at priest
driving?
college. I don't
Right.
know, but what kills me, I realized this on my watching it through this time, is that after his parents die,
Mhm,
his parents die, he
right.
goes to China, he
Mhm.
gets the holy artifact, and then he gets back, and it's only been 2 weeks since his parents died, based on the confession by Frankie Mermaid.
Right.
So
That's the
Oh.
shortest seminary college ever.
Well,
that was after he was a pastor, but that was the shortest sabbatical and infection by mysterious artifact. And
Well.
back to, I'm feeling better now.
well,
He only,
what trips like that only last a week. We all know that.
Right. You know,
He only had so many vacation days.
pretty much.
You know what? It would have been a lot better if they had a box of Cracker Jacks and they said, "We'll get you after your priest." And then when he was walking out, he opened a box of Cracker Jacks and pulled it out, his document saying that he was a priest. That will have been perfect.
That's a good idea.
There wasn't enough money
I
left in
like
the
that.
budget for plot.
What was that?
I kind of wonder.
There
I'm
wasn't
just
enough money
saying.
left in the budget for Cracker Jack.
They didn't have the budget for the Cracker Jacks. I think that's what he's saying.
Now watch. One of these guys will watch this and go, "That would have been perfect, man."
Yeah, well,
Yeah, there's supposed to be a sequel coming out. So
there is. And I saw it's
Free idea.
VelociPastor 2. Him and Carol are supposed to go to Milan, and they're going to be fighting ninjas there too. So whether or not it actually takes place in Italy, who the hell knows? But I don't know if it's out yet. But I did see the poster for it.
Italy.
Are they going to do a Family Guy? Bippity boppity.
you should volunteer to train the martial artists, Ron. Like,
Sure. Pay me $11,000. I'll do it. I'm sure they've got the budget for it now.
No. They have a budget of $11,000. You get a box of Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure after the success of this movie, they probably have a little bit more than $11,000 in their budget to make the second one. So
this guy, Sam, pulls out a sword and is like, "This is the sword of our ancestors," because
who the hell are your ancestors? The Dragonborn? It's one of those toy swords you get at Target.
No. I do believe he says "my ancestors," and then later on,
yes, and I am your brother.
Yeah.
And Doug is able to summon the sword because your ancestors are my ancestors too.
I'm surprised George Lucas didn't try and sue his ass.
I don't think that
there was no lightsaber.
Yeah.
Well.
So,
and they didn't have to turn puffins into little creatures.
They fight. His girlfriend.
My T-Rex has one hump.
I just have to wonder, does that T-Rex outfit, does that dinosaur outfit have udders?
Hold on. You can see the opening right between his legs there where but I have some serious scoliosis here, guys. Hold still.
My bottom dentures.
And there was a couple of points where you can tell during the fight scene he's clearly blind. He can't really see what's going on, so he gets turned around, and the ninjas just kind of like turn him back around. This movie is magic. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Carol is kicking some ass until they pull out a special ninja for her.
Right.
Who has a sword.
Who just walks up and goes, "Shoink." There we go.
They're all retarded.
She's peeled off into a cat suit, and she just doesn't even try to defend herself at this point.
Right.
Which I totally don't get.
I didn't either.
It was in the script.
Yeah, well.
Come on.
I think they were riffing most of the script the whole time anyway.
So this guy goes ahead and shoots the VelociPastor in the leg. He took an arrow to the knee, and
now he's gonna be a guard.
There was antivenom on that arrow because they've dealt with him for centuries, I guess. But then he goes, "I guess my hands aren't affected by the antivenom," and
wounds are immune.
There's caterpillars on his eyes.
And
that is the most realistic decapitation I think I've ever seen in a movie.
This is the most amazing effects laden movie I have ever seen in my life. I mean, clearly people have gone on and worked with Marvel, with the Star Wars franchise. I don't know where reality ends and the fantasy begins.
Yes.
I really don't.
So fast forward, they get done fighting. He decapitates the big bad, and then he gets to the hospital. And guess what, everybody?
Carol's
She's
alive.
fine.
She's
Carol's
fine.
I just think it's funny. He's messing around with the big bad's head, and then all of a sudden, oh, Carol, and then off to the hospital.
Yeah.
I find it amazing that when he goes into the room after the doctor starts smoking out in the waiting room, that Carol only has like a blood pressure cuff attached to her.
Yeah. No intubation tube or
No.
anything like that. She's
No
fine.
IV bag.
She's not even in a bed. She's sitting upright.
They're in a clinic. They
Obviously,
can even
okay.
afford a hospital.
Oh, and the
Once
doctor
again,
On a
smoked-
pastor's salary?
The
Are you
doctor
kidding
me?
smoked when he was
Budget.
pulling the butts out of the ashtray and trying to smoke the butts like
Yeah,
not
he
even a
was.
full cigarette.
We've all been there.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he-
haven't. I don't
He
smoke.
took a vow of poverty because you know this because somebody tries to beg from him, and he's like, "I don't have any money. I took a vow of poverty. I have no possessions." I
That's
cannot help
Doug.
the
I'm talking about the
homeless."
doctor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah.
No, the
that's-
doctor goes and he's like going through every
He's
single
sniping
cigarette.
for
Oh, he's like,
buds,
okay,
yeah.
this. And he's like putting it in,
Also,
lining up,
there
and
was-
I'm like,
Also, there's a full ashtray in a hospital.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, there should be no smoking anyway,
Well, it was in the
especially in
waiting
2018.
little cubicle.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
it goes back to, all those cartoons where people were waiting for their kids being chain smokers.
All you saw was the top from here up of them, just like a cloud of smoke.
Yeah. And so we were left with a parting shot of the couple just talking about how he's wanted by the church and where they're off to, leaving things wide open for VelociPastor 2. Guys, this has to be the greatest movie ever made. I don't know about you guys, but we'll
I hear it got a lot of 5-star reviews.
Oh, yes, they did.
Oh,
We should hear some of
please
those.
share.
That flawless.
You like that segue?
Flawless segue there. Okay, let me get back over here and see more reviews. And here we go. We'll start with great movie. It lives up to its hype and does not disappoint. It explains the story and plot more better and doesn't leave you confused and pondering on trying to figure out the plot and what could have actually happened that didn't make sense.
That's part
Because
where
what-
the other part of the budget went, right there, to bribe people.
Yeah.
To leave 5-star reviews. I don't
Let's see.
Well, I mean that review was actually spot on.
Yeah. Okay. The hilarious 5-star. This is an awful movie. The special effects were cheesy. I watched this movie 10 times and it makes me laugh every time. Very enjoyable. Great for a party. Nikki says, awesome, with 4 exclamation points. It was phenomenal. Hands down, best movie I watched stoned. Okay, so I recommend this more than any film I've ever watched. It's impossible for me to even begin to describe this movie. It's bad, don't get me wrong, just horrible. The set design is awful, the plot is incoherent, and whatever they spent $35,000 on was not worth it. $35,000? I thought it was 11.
I thought from the trivia that they said it had like a budget of $11,000. So
Okay.
that's where I came up with the money, the dollar
The
amount.
other 20.
Can we look that up?
The best way I can describe this film is that it's like the antithesis of Birdemic. Wow. Do we have that on the list? Birdemic.
Birdemic.
Probably.
I'm not familiar with that one, so put it on the list.
Oh, Oh, you are in for a treat, sir. You are in for a very painful treat.
It does say that the movie cost the creators somewhere between $35,000 to $45,000 in the trivia.
Okay.
On IMDb, anyway.
The VelociPastor is never once boring. There are no establishing shots that last for a full minute and establish nothing. There are no establishing shots at all. It seems like it almost supposed to be set in the 70s. They try to make a clearly 70-plus-year-old actor try it and look like a young man by putting a blonde wig on him and doing nothing else. This just goes on forever. Okay, there's a 1-star review. We're leaving that away. Okay, here we go. Best movie of the late 2010s. The VelociPastor is a unique and entertaining movie that will keep you engaged from start to finish. It's a perfect mix of action, romance, comedy, and adventure, making it an enjoyable experience for anyone who loves movies. And we'll use this as the last one. Kids who watch this film can never know how revolutionary it was. Some things are better than sex. To put it bluntly, the orgasmic pleasure divulged upon myself in historic, nay, groundbreaking, nay, world-shaking magnum opus of cinematography is truly unparalleled.
What were they doing during the movie? Jeez.
One last piece of trivia that I didn't know. According to the DVD commentary by the writer-director, the Velociraptor costume used in the film had been in his basement for years. It had been made for a high school play, but the school's principal refused to let it be used because he believed it made the play too violent.
Oh.
Okay. Could you imagine the smell inside there?
Oh, speaking of smells, most
No
of the
wonder the
scratches
haunt-
on the film were achieved by Brendan Steer dragging the unprocessed film across surfaces in his bathroom, the only room in his apartment with no windows and therefore dark enough to not expose the raw film.
Oh.
The more you know.
Wow.
So,
Clearly, this movie is one of the ones that doesn't take itself too seriously. And if you do take this too seriously, there's something wrong with you. It's not
and
the
you'll get
movie.
yelled at.
Yeah. So, starting with Del, what is the out of 10? What are you giving it?
I give this, I was going to say 7.5, but I'll go ahead and bump it up to 8. I'll give this an 8 out of 10, and I do recommend this to people. So, yeah, it's bad enough that it's funny, and it cracks me up, and it gives you lots of little Easter eggs and rabbit holes to dive down in stupidity. So, if you like that kind of thing, that's where I go with it, and Ratatosker agrees.
Nice. Friday in Chaos.
I forced Jody to join me in watching it. So, yeah, I forced 2 people that I love other than you guys to join me.
And they're not here?
One of them is. The other one fell asleep.
Hey, I'm invisible.
She has to go to work in the morning. But she did
Okay.
join me. We talked about it on the phone.
I would love to have her on the show.
I tried to talk her into joining us.
I'd rather be invisible than in danger.
I'm in danger. So what do you rate it, Chaos?
What do you rate it?
Sober about 3.5. Drunk.
Sober about 3.5.
Drunk in my head, an actual 7.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Did you rate it already, Friday?
No, he jumped to Ron. Ron jumped to Josh, so I'm like, okay. I give it a 6, and I will continue to torture people with it.
Awesome. Pyle, what do you give it?
Put some serious thought into this because this is state of the art according to that 1 5-star. I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 straight marks.
Mm-hmm. I'm sensing a theme here. It's not the first time you've used the toilet paper for the ratings.
No. That right there is still here from
The
Monster.
debut.
I just figure I'll just keep on doing streak marks.
Sure.
They can't be total shit.
This too shall pass.
Oh boy.
Ron, what'd you give it?
Well, as I said before, when I watched the movie the first time, I really did not care that much for it. So I was not very excited about having to watch it a second time. But I'm dedicated. So I said for the podcast, I'll do it. And I do have to admit that upon the second watching, I did actually enjoy it a lot more. I will say one caveat that this could be a potential date movie, but you better really know your date, whether or not that person's going to actually like this kind of movie. So that being said, I'm going to give it 6 claws.
Nice. I am giving this thing an 8 out of 10, simply because the first time I saw it, I loved it. Second time I saw it, I loved it even more. And I agree with Ron. This is a perfect date movie, but the caveat being that this is the date movie that you use to determine, is she the one or not?
Yes. Agreed.
So there is so much to love about this. Yeah.
So I know we're going to get past it.
Okay. Yeah.
We were talking about date movie.
Uh-huh. But so
Valentine's Day is right around the corner, everybody.
Here you
Who
go.
wants to go see a dinosaur take on
Well,
ninjas?
and
With his
appropriately enough,
hooker doctor lawyer.
appropriately enough, Valentine's Day also falls on Ash Wednesday this year. So we're torn.
I do have one question. Do you
Yes.
think she was studying lawyer and to be in the medical field for all the doctors that get sued?
Yeah, I think that's what med law is.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that, that was what she needed to do.
Oh no, she was in pre-med and law school because she said
Right.
that she was going to be a hooker doctor lawyer.
Right.
So it
So
wasn't
maybe-
like med law. It was pre-med and law.
So
Can you
maybe
get a
she needed to
degree
learn
for
all
hookering?
this.
Las
Las
It is
Vegas,
the
you
oldest
get paperwork.
Okay. So do we have the reveal go?
Yes, Jenny, are you ready?
Give me 2 seconds and I will be.
Okay, we'll get this loaded.
I
then.
am when you are.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
You spin me.
Can we get that?
I can't tell if it stopped.
Killer
Killer
tongue.
tongue.
Is
Okay.
that
Wow.
like teeth?
That was wow.
Okay,
Basically,
so 2 weeks.
alien monster comes down and takes over this woman, and it is a tongue. She is still there, but the alien tongue is still there, and people die, and so on and so forth.
So it's not
Just
like
shook
teeth.
her head at it. She's like, no.
Okay, this will be a first for me. So
Right.
2 weeks, killer tongue.
Well, let's let Jenny tell a little bit more about it. She was
Sure.
started.
I don't remember anymore.
Oh,
I haven't watched it in 20 years.
Is there a fight scene? That way we know if there's going to be a tongue lashing.
I know
Maybe.
people die. That's about all I remember.
Kyle, we talked about this.
Teenager.
the bad dad jokes.
Is it like a cat tongue that has the bumps on it, and it's like sandpaper?
Sandpaper, right?
No, it's like really long. 1996 film.
Oh, it's a '90s film.
The film is long
Yeah.
or the tongue is long?
that's what I was
The
gonna
tongue was long.
Yes, yes.
So-
It's long.
Is that like one of those Pokemon? There's one that's got a long tongue.
Lick a tongue. Don't ask how I know this.
I was going to. That's pretty good.
Del,
So
where can we find you?
Oh, I am here on half of the Elliott things.
Were you just visualizing the tongue there, or just okay?
Oh, now, whoa,
wait.
that's a different show. That's doing the terrible after dark.
No, you'll find me here most Sundays, some Mondays, some Thursdays, doing various things. You can also find me on Splash Pages every Tuesday on the Dorkening. This Tuesday tomorrow, we're going to be talking with John Layman and reading the initial 2 arcs of the book Chew, which is a comic about a guy who they have a technical term for it, but he's basically anything he eats, he can find the history of, and so he becomes a federal agent, and they make him eat the most disgusting things possible to track down serial killers and he eats the evidence and he can discover memories and things about it. The only thing that he can eat without getting triggered is beets. There is no reason why.
Can he explain that in layman terms?
I'm sure he will tomorrow.
You'll have to tune in.
Otherwise, look for Carrie, Kari Sanders on Facebook, and you'll have all of my links, my author page, all of the Owlite links, all the Splash Pages links. Everything is there, and Jenny will probably answer most of the things that you contact me about. And where can we find you, Jenny? And Joshua?
That's my question.
Oh. Well, ask it.
Fine. Friday, where can we find you?
Me? I seem to be here. I was in the cemetery earlier. Now I've made it to a closet. So I keep hopping to random places, but mainly Elliott Network on Fridays, Library in the Blue Box, and my group is Fridays, Disorganized Library in the Blue Box. I do some odd things on Fake Horror as well, and I now have an author page under Jennifer Elliott. So yeah,
check her out.
Nice. Chaos, where can we find you?
Find her.
Okay, fair enough. Pyle, where can we find you?
Preferably not in the loony bin, but you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And you can find me here on the Elliott Network doing whatever podcast I happen to jump in.
All right, cool. Ron. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Ronald W Gillespie Jr. author for my author page. You can also find me on TikTok and YouTube under Wolf Dojo or Wolf Sensei, either one, since I am a professional martial artist. I make martial arts content. Although I do have to warn you, I'm very, very bad about updating my social media. So if you don't see anything for years and years, just roll with it,
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll be promoting his book for him. So
Jeannie will be promoting my book for me, and I will be promoting my book here and there and everywhere, like Savoir Faire. And
wow. Wow.
Get that reference?
Things are rhyming. I'll be honest, Ronald W. Gillespie Jr. sounds like the main character of a hard-boiled noir mystery.
Damn right.
You should be wearing a fedora and long coat.
I have one. You want me to wear it?
The dame walked in.
Yeah. The dame walked in. She had legs that wouldn't stop for days.
Turns out she didn't even have a torso. She was just legs, arms, and
all legs. Legs that touch all the way up to the top.
She's got legs. She knows how to use them. Anyway.
Please tell me you're going to have a co-star that's a rabbit.
Harvey. He's a 6-foot rabbit.
Oh, that's a different movie.
I know. He's referring to
right.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I'm so short. I was like friends in college with this group, and I was like all thin and stuff back then. And one of the girls, her nickname was Legs Up to There, and mine was legs up to about here. So
That's
I I don't mind if they're taller than me. It's just like climbing a mountain.
there you
All
go.
right. So
Are you yodeling as you go up?
Well, I'm doing some with the tongue.
And apparently 2 weeks, we will be too.
Yeah, we'll be finding out what that tongue do.
Uncle
Not good
Necro, where
things.
can we find you?
Well, I am your humble servant, Uncle Necro. You can find me on Facebooks. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on the blogosphere, writing reviews and doing another couple of other podcasts, the Movies and Beer podcast and the Necro Shock Radio. Also, you can find me on the porch yelling at clouds outside, pretty much anywhere and everywhere. So I'll be on. I'll see you guys later. I'll be underneath your. I'll be underneath your bed. So until next time, seek help.
All right.
No kidding.
Spay and neuter.